Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. And welcome everybody back for another amazing episode of Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. So glad to be with you today, and the opportunity to let go, allow that which is most primary and true for us to emerge is always right here and right now. And so today we're talking about this opportunity to utilize the power of being more present and surrendered, to allow yourself to experience a depth of connection and empowerment from the connected field to navigate the waters of your business, so that what's really wanting to happen could happen in a way that's with greater ease, expansion, a greater container of fulfillment for you, for what you're here to serve, and more. Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free Meditate Make Money meditation today. Now, again, I've been in business at some level since early 2000s and online for 15 years. Online entrepreneur or coach, healer, trainer, etc. And during that time, I've generated six-figure businesses and multi-six-figure business. So I've had a lot of experience of developing things, launching things, bringing things out into the world, and having countless sales, essentially sales conversations, of course, with lots of people. There's a lot of the business I've done has been often one-to-one conversations. But I've done live events, I've done groups, I've done a number of things. Like I say, I've done most of the things you can do, although there's so many new things to do these days that, not even close when it comes to all the new technologies, all the AI and this and that and the other things. So I've done most of the sorts of things you can do. And I've approached things in different ways internally as well, like how I approach what actually is going to happen to my business, always with this process of tuning in, always from a deeper listening. And yet there's ways of optimizing our business from a deeper state of surrender. So when I first started in business, it was always about the idea of getting past just motivational goals alone, and the idea of, like, back in the 2000s, before I even got online, I was talking about things like soul goals and things like that. And think about it now. I mean, truthfully, like, I think about some of the things I was saying back then. I suppose there were other leaders talking about such things, but it was pretty innovative and new at the time. Like, people weren't talking about things in those terms. Soul goals, what are those? So yeah, I always have this orientation. There's something beyond what our minds are telling us that we want. But in business, what we have is often our minds do get involved and want to look at the metrics, right? And I've even talked about that. That is can be, for most of us, is an important aspect of our business. One of the things I heard recently is, for whatever it may be worth, but I thought it was very telling, is that studies show that the average person spends 4 to 5 hours a month thinking about their money and things like that. Like, just even not, this isn't even just business. And I think they said that included paying bills, or maybe excluding paying bills. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But the point is 4 to 5 hours for the average person, and then it was 20 to 25 or 30 hours for millionaires. The average millionaire spends focusing on their finances, just the finances, not running a business and all that stuff. So that was eye-opening to me, because I spend time on my business, of course, right? Thinking about my business, tuning into my business. Then we were executing marketing or whatever, like, looking to serve people, having a certain amount of sales conversations with people, of course. How much time are we taking, just as a sort of a side note today, but how much time we even spend focusing on our wealth, like really looking at it? Most of us don't spend that much time with that. We're so busy just trying to get along, get it going, feeling we need to survive, hoping that we'll thrive. That's how most people are often doing their businesses. So, and then there's the people that are not like that. So yeah, one of the things is to let go of some of the old drivers. Even though I came in with soul goals and things like that into my life and business, even as soon as the 2000s, I still had again, I'm not making a bad or, necessarily bad or completely wrong or anything, but I also brought in motivation and willpower, and I could make stuff happen. And what I've seen, again, for me and again, others, the people I help and others, colleagues and things like that, is by and large, not always, some people are geared where they can be more on the motivational edge, and they can certainly achieve. They certainly can get there. Doesn't always work for people, but often it can work for certain people, but not everybody, of course. And they put their head down, drive forward to the goal, total conviction, and they get there. Other people with total conviction and focused on their goal in a willpower manner, something keeps them from getting to where they want to go. And often they don't know what it is. And what I find it is, and even those that can do that and achieve goals, I find over time things fall apart. And other issues that create, maybe the relationships crumble. Maybe they're not happy. Maybe they're pulling their hair out every day. Maybe they're in emergency mode because they always have to hit their next goal, and it's a lot of stress and pressure. And then they and they build a big business and a team they've got to deal with, and it's like a monster they've created. I have clients that, they're like, why did you go to expand and build this business the way it is? And some people might say, well, you see, I want to help a lot of people, and I certainly wanted to maximize my potential and do all this impact and everything. So okay, that's one story. It's one level of story, and I'm sure, in a way that's true. But then we look at, okay, and then if that wasn't true, though, what's the next story of why you went to do that? Next reason, and well, I want to make more money. I want to expand and wanted to make more money. Okay, so after we get past, and if that's not your reason, then what was the reason? Just to say that isn't the reason. I'm sure that's part of it. Okay, but if we just take that out, now what's the reason? Well, I don't know. It just seems like the thing to do. I mean, I just really want to experience freedom to do what I want in my life, and to have that freedom by having more money and everything. Okay, but if that wasn't the reason why, then why is it? Let's just say that isn't the real reason why. What's the reason why? And then we keep boiling it down till we get to the red hot center, and keep going further and further and further. Because I'm scared that I'm not going to measure up to what I'm supposed to be doing in this lifetime. And if I don't get it right, others are going to say I was a failure, and I'm going to think I was a failure. And I might, just be as hopeless as I've always thought maybe I am, or I'll discover that I'm not worthy after all, or something like that. Like, believe it or not, like even very high level people will say that. Now, usually they try to assuage that a little bit sometimes by saying things like, I mean, to some degree, I try to minimize it. But the truth is that is more the core of what's I need to be enough. I need to be enough, essentially, is what it is. But the more they manifest, sometimes it does the opposite of it being enough. It becomes a monster. Like, we need to feed it even more. Now that we did all this, boy, we got to do a lot more now. That's not nearly enough. And some entrepreneurs will tell you they're thriving, and that's how everybody should be. You create the monster, and then it gets you get hungrier and hungrier for more and more. And isn't that perfect? Then we can keep growing our businesses, and it's perfect. But along the way, what you find, as I've been, researching this, is you have to look at the deeper story of the businesses, again, in the transformational industry, but also just businesses at all. It's not only the transformational industry. You look at those that create these monsters, so to speak, and you find those that are cutting corners because they're not listening at a deeper level, And so I'm going to get into, how to do that so you don't have to run into these problems. But you look at companies like Subway, you find out the reports are, it seems pretty clear now that lab tests show that their tuna sandwiches don't even have tuna in it. How does that happen? How do companies that were so wildly successful, tank overnight? You got the CEOs taking all the money, like an Enron way back when, or I've read so many stories, I've heard so many instances where these things are true, and so there's a huge impact. Like Enron, like a whole movie was made about that whole fiasco, right? And the impact it had on people's lives and the suicides that happened, et cetera, because of the damage it did, and how it all levels, it all burns down, in the end when things are not built on a firm foundation. Eventually it doesn't last, even if you want to say, well, it lasted for this person's entire life. And then, okay, how about the next generation, and how did they do? How did it go? Well, eventually things don't measure up. So a lot of damage is done along the way. For all the good that is purported, like it's always like coming from this unawakened space is championed because it believes, the unawakened conscious believes, we get more results by being more unawake and just driving from my wounds to make this happen, rather than letting go, relaxing, getting more deeply connected, allowing something more fulfilling to happen for everything. And we get past businesses, just I'm sure I can muster up one or two businesses to point to, but we think about people, leaders, like those like you don't want to be a spiritual rock stars. We think of the examples again, the legacy Louise Hay has left, right? The legacy Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, all these enterprises of Mother Teresa, they had a lasting impact that lives beyond their own lifespan. And even them, or their direct minions, so to speak, those that were a part of their circle, their movements live on. Or even Louise Hay, her company lives on. And it's because there's a deeper foundation that's been established. So the transmission of results goes deeper. If you look at lots of companies, okay, car companies, every single, if it wasn't for the government, basically all the car companies, for the most part, most of them all would be out of business. Most of them never would have made it. They got bailed out. You can get to certain goals, certain metrics, certain success, even for years, maybe even decades. But then there's going to be these dips, and then there's going to be collateral damage to you and your business, big time, even like right away. Like right away, there's collateral damage. You know, I can't, and like Elon Musk, a lot of people, he's kind of popular. Well, he's a super smart guy, but what kind of collateral damage does the good he's doing for humanity? That's great. All the time he puts into it. And, you know, I can't speak to how he's put his businesses together because actually, you know, in some ways, you could probably say they're pretty doggone good, right? I mean, people that have Tesla stock are pretty happy. Looks pretty sustainable. Looks like it might continue to last, but we don't know. But the way he's living doesn't sound highly sustainable. But we don't, you know, of course, we don't know yet. But you know, I'm just saying, working constantly nonstop, like these entrepreneurs, they talk about Tesla and not Tesla, I mean Elon Musk and Bill Gates, and they work for 20 years nonstop, no vacations, no days off, basically around the clock. You know, I'm sure it's not entirely that like that, but to some degree. Donald Trump too, you know, same sort of story at least has been told about these people. And at some point they start pulling back, even if it takes 20 years, but they don't do quite as much, right? They start easing up. What's the damage it's doing? What's the damage it's done in terms of what's been happening in the meantime? We've got all that. So that's even if you succeed, so to speak, on outward metrics and which again, I'm not saying no good can come out of all of that energy. There's good that happens. There's no question. Even incredible good can happen through that. But there's a way of genius that we're being called into as humanity at this time that takes us out of a lot of this success that's been generated that in many cases, again, fueling tensions and other issues with economically and in our culture. We're finding it's unsustainable, these sorts of models, and people have cancer and heart disease and all this. A lot of it has to do with diet, but what creates people want to eat this stuff? Miseducation, but also stress, anxiety, fear, survival energy. So all these things are driving people, and it drives them to even spiritual entrepreneurs. It drives many spiritual entrepreneurs. They show up as love and light. I'm all expanded and haha, everything's good all the time. But then, you know, the truth is when they're not doing their webinars or whatever, that's not the story. You know, it's not necessarily the story. So anyway, so I've talked about the problem enough. What do we do in terms of in our own businesses? How can we avoid, like, there's been so many things I've launched, so to speak, or offered people. And some of the times there's times when like, wow, how did that happen? It went so well. And then there's been times it went well or pretty good. And there's times that not so good, mediocre, or whatever, like everything, right? Every shade or totally bombed, right? So every successful entrepreneur has had times when things have totally bombed. They did put a lot of time, energy, or money and money, all of it, into something, doing an event or a launch or something, and saw almost no one buy or no one buy. I've seen it from the top entrepreneurs in this field. They launch something, no one buys, no one knows that's what happened, but no one bought, or their sales were like minuscule compared to what they were expecting. And it can happen. So why does that happen? How can you ensure that you do not have to continue to go down such pathways so regularly, like the ups and downs and all arounds that some people experience? Well, I've been on a high for 2-3 years, and then there's a crash. I got 2-3 years of a crash then, right? So, and then eventually some people give up. They just leave the transformational industry of spiritual entrepreneurs. They just can't take it. Get me a 9-to-5 or whatever, kind of thing. I need the stability, if you want that stability, paycheck, but it's not the answer, folks. I mean, the real answer you're looking for is to deepen into a presence and to learn to surrender in a way that allows you to know your truth. And so I've said many words and said many things today to get to this point, to talk to you about how you can surrender for greater success in your business. So the foundation is very simple. For me, it's been very simple for me. I'm going to share some things from my own experience and how to do it. And something I share a lot, and it has to do with meditation. Taking the time to meditate. I talk about stillness meditation. There's a lot of other meditations you can do, but without the foundation of stillness meditation, you're not going to be in that more fully, deeply surrendered state if you don't take enough time to just be in that connection alone. You can do other meditations if you like, as long as it seems to appeal to you, benefit you, I suppose, if you feel you're really getting benefit from that. The foundation is surrender and letting go of everything. It's looking to attain nothing. In meditation, you're not trying to attain anything. And so that's why for most of us who meditate more fully and deeply, even if it's regular 20-minute meditations like I do, and then I go deeper at times, I'll go longer and all that stuff. So, but just regular 20-minute meditations, for me, 3 times a day during the week, might shorten that up a little bit, not do quite as much during the weekend. But with this foundation, really letting go of any fears or anxieties or concerns you have about producing in your business, letting go of all the drivers, all the fear drivers, all the wounding drivers, and just allowing what's most true and clear spontaneously. What's most true and clear to you spontaneously for you to take action on and to be about in your business. Now that's where you want to focus. As a spontaneity to it, as a sense of a clearness. And that's what you want to pay attention to. Is there a detailing of your business? Is there a, once you get, you have this wonderful car concept you come up with and you just create it, then you look at it when you're done and you say, boy, we didn't work out some of the details, right? So there's always the detailing of things. We don't detail it, may not be as awesome as it could be. It's possible. Sometimes though, things just purely come from a spontaneous presence, a surrendered state, and it's just whatever unfolds from there is just perfect. All the detailing happens, everything happens from that state. Sometimes it's a little rawer, right? And we need to take a little time to focus on some details and whatnot, and maybe even listen to our minds a little bit and allow some of those things to obsess even a little bit and to get things clear on your next program offer or your next, whatever it is, whatever you're doing, your next product or program. But you can avoid so many headaches. Like you could have the most successful launch you've ever had, but if it bankrupts you and your energy and health, is this what you choose? Is this what you would want to choose? Because I can guarantee you, again, firsthand knowledge, that's what happens for some people when they're having all the reported success. What's not advertised as much as the bankruptcy they're experiencing in their energy, their through the roof stress levels, the collateral damage in their life, health and relationships, etc. I've seen people with basically fatigue syndrome, things like that, problems with sleeping, problems with feeling lack of energy throughout the day after doing it for years, right? Now, wow, I don't know. Like I just feel like sleeping a lot. I wonder why. I mean, you've been like in a war, like a war state almost, like with that adrenaline, everything for years. So don't allow yourself to go so far that this happens to you, or if it has happened to you, it's time to learn the surrendered way for greater success. With a foundation of meditation, then we're in a state of meditation, a state of constantly listening throughout the day for more of a meditative still state. When you're considering ideas, let's say ideas come to you, as for most entrepreneurs, we get lots of ideas. Take it through a test, not only of a test of like, well, do I feel in my gut that this is a good feeling? You might get a yes, and it may not still be for the highest. Because what are you checking out? Oh, is this a good idea? Will it sell? Oh, yeah, I get a huge download on this. Well, how does it feel in terms of me delivering this? Is that a yes? Oh, no, I'm getting a no now, right? Or you ask, should I do it? Should I do it? It's the best for the highest and everything. You get a yes. But I would be a little leery sometimes on that particular one because, for some of you, because, you know, if when you get all these downloads, what I find for myself, okay, my internal experience has been, if I'm honest with myself, I listen more deeply and fully, even if I get a yes on, oh, the coast is clear, let's do this, this is right on. If something is nagging at me saying, oh, I don't know about this, I'm not afraid to do it. I don't have concern. I know I can do it. I know it could be successful. I know I could even enjoy doing this, but something doesn't feel right. Then there's something that's missing. There is something that's missing. There's something that's missing. And then it's up to you to be more patient and to ask questions and be with listening until the details flesh themselves out strongly and clearly enough for you to make a good go of it, for it to be as full and deep and amazing as it's meant to be. Because you're going to spend a lot of time and energy on it, and you're bringing it to people, and it's going to impact their lives. You want it to be as amazing and perfect as possible, so to speak. Okay, I know that's could be a mind conception, is perfectionism, not that kind of perfection, but as beautiful as possible, right? So when you're considering how your business wants to unfold, it's not about how am I going to make it happen. It's not about how to will it into fruition. It's almost like how surrendered do I need to be is what I wanted to say. And it's also about just simply being in that surrender state. I mean, not like trying to go for more, but like, okay, maybe even asking, like, am I actually fully surrendered, here? And to make sure your ego and wounding drivers aren't the reason why it feels right. And it seems, even seemingly intuitively, like it's the thing for you. You're fully surrendered. What are you doing? What feels most joyful, playful, expanded, and most impactful for you to bring forward? And of course, for the people you're here to help, what kind of, if you're building a community, what kind of culture, what kind of vibe do you want to create for that community? Are you really coming from that more deeply connected, surrendered state? So the how is really just a practice of making sure there's not this, I'll make it happen. I hope it works. I'm gonna, I need to get this done. I gotta make it happen. All that stuff, all that sort of energy. Okay, it's time for this to come to an end. We're infinite beings. We are infinitely connected. We are one with the full presence of Source God within. And when we allow ourselves to trust in that connection and be fully surrendered in that way, and that fullness, being in our fullness, being our fully connected, our truest self, our truest nature, and we can just rest in it. I mean, there's nothing to chase after. There's only that which is simply wanting to unfold through us. And we simply say yes in each moment, the way it wants to unfold in the proper rhythm and timing. This is where you can have awakened sales. You can have enlightened success. Essentially, in a surrendered state, you're just channeling it. You're just a channel for it to unfold, and you get to enjoy it. To me, what could be better? Nothing for me. So if we're creating a business that's $1 trillion business, okay, well, your ego gets involved in that. You're like, oh my God, that's so amazing. Oh my God, what I could do with that. That's honestly, if you're honest with yourself, you're like, oh my God, that's a lot of power. What could I do with that power? And you have to watch, like, what's that all about for you? You're not ready for the $1 trillion or even the $1 billion or maybe even the $1 million if your ego's going, boy, I'll be something then. And then, wow, I'll be something. Finally, I made it. No, not about that. If that's what it's about for you, then you're not ready for it. Don't create it. It'll just create a bigger amount. It'll just feed your pain body. You need to come from a deeper space. And then it'll be so much easier to let whatever level you want to go to happen. Happen so much easier. Think in the order of like at least 10 times easier, 100 times easier, way easier. Seemingly things will happen that will feel like, oh my God, I feel like I'm not even doing anything and this is working, like things are happening. And with this project or this launch or this or that, I feel like it's so easy. It's so perfect. It's so playful. And yeah, then there may be moments and times or, whatever amount of times where, things can challenge you at moments, but it's more you can just come back to a surrendered state and accept everything as it is. You can proceed with being fully connected and therefore fully impactful and most effective for your clients, for your company, for your results and your sales, etc. And then you're setting the energy, emotion, and the consciousness through everything you're touching and on planet, that this is the state we want to be coming from. It's about the state that we're in. It's not about how many more. That's, again, secondary. Just think like that's secondary at best. Maybe a very important thing to your soul on a secondary level. The primary thing is going to be always, as you've heard so many times, first, the focus on your state of being, your state of consciousness, then let all the rest to flow from there. So the next time you're considering doing something in your business, is it coming from that fully surrendered, most connected state? Does everything feel just right to take whatever the next step is you're about to take? Does it really feel like now's the moment? So I'm saying this actually for those that are more the fast action people than those that are slow on action. If you're slow on action, the best thing you can do sometimes is just to forget about is this the exact right step to take. You might do better, okay, without additional support from someone like myself, perhaps, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe if you're a meditator and you just follow the instructions they give you, do fine. But you might do better just to take some actions to just get in an action taking mode, so that you're ready to take action when the actions need to be taken. But always you're looking for that quality, especially for the audience that I'm wanting to reach the most today. If you've often come from these wounded places, taking a lot of action, and you know that that's not the way, but you don't know what the way is otherwise, this is for you, what I've been talking about today. Okay, so I know it's like I shared a lot. I've pointed into what I'm talking about. If you want to embody this way of being, come join me to know more about it. You can go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get the Meditate Make Money meditation, which will help you to align with that each and every day with the meditation, open up your energy, your chakras, get the guidance, let the energy get turned on that wants to get turned on to propel you forward. That puts you in that surrender state. Take advantage of it. And then also you can take advantage of my Rock Your Sacred Purpose consultation, Energy Scan Consultation, right there at yoursacredpurpose.com. There's an application to fill out. If you're ready to surrender and expand at the same time, then I would love to receive your application and support you through a consultation, which I'm fully committed to giving you a full value from a deep listening and using my gifts to tune into you and help you, give you specific practical suggestions for your business, my knowledge and experience, and also from my deep listening. Get your energy aligned in the direction you want to go. and also explore the opportunity to help you to embody what you're here to embody and to create the business you're really meant to be having right now, and the impact you're meant to be having from this deepened state, to really wake up, to really wake yourself and others up through your wonderful work in the world. Experience what I'm talking about, this awakened sales. Become a spiritual rock star, right? Okay. All right, everybody. Grateful to share with you today. Look forward to being with you for our next episode. Keep on tuning in, and we'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Okay, till next time, everyone. Goodbye for now.
For listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.